Great to see you, everyone. Rob Washburn and I are back with you for another edition of This Week in CAA Football presented by Geico. The first weekend of all games being conference matchups are in the books, and it certainly didn't disappoint as the league race looks to be one for the history books, Rob.
How about right now that there are 7 teams within one game of first place in the CAA standings? It doesn't get much better than that. Looking back on last Saturday, let's start with the wild top 25 battle in Kingston between Maine and Rhode Island. The lead changed hands 3 times in the final 2.5 minutes, with quarterbacks Chris Ferguson and Vito Priori both guiding their teams on impressive scoring drives. But in the end, it was Black Bears kicker Kenny Doak coming up big for the second week in a row, connecting on a 39-yard field goal as time expired to give the Black Bears a 38-36 victory to move to 3-0 in CAA play. Also improving to 3-0 in the CAA was Towson, which overcame a halftime deficit to beat William & Mary 29-13. Tom Flacco threw for 188 yards and ran for 109 to lead the offense, and the Tigers' defense posted a shutout over the final 30 minutes. Delaware recorded its first win over a top 5 opponent since 2010, scoring 2 touchdowns in the final 7 minutes to beat Elon 28-16. Linebacker Troy Reeder had a career day for the Blue Hens defense, and bruising running back Kenai Kane got rolling in the fourth quarter to help put the game away. Worse than the numbers on the scoreboard for the Phoenix, however, was the unfortunate loss of quarterback Davis Cheek to a knee injury in the first quarter. JMU rebounded from its first CAA loss in 3 years in a big way, blanking Villanova 37-0. D'Angelo Amos put his name in the CAA record books, returning 2 punts for touchdowns in a span of 2:10 of the third period from 87 and 81 yards. Richmond put together an 11-play, 57-yard drive over the final 4 minutes and earned its first CAA win of the year, 27-24 at UAlbany, when Griffin Trow converted a 25-yard field goal with 6 seconds left. Finally, Stony Brook got defensive touchdowns from T.J. Morrison and Shane Lawless to build a quick 21-point lead at New Hampshire and went on to a 35-7 victory as Donald Leontine ran for a season-high 163 yards. 5 weeks to go in the regular season, and I have a feeling we're in for a wild ride.
No doubt about it. 5 conference matchups are on the slate this week. Let's begin with Elon, who looks to get back on track at home versus Richmond. A 1:30 kick on Fox College Sports, Fox Sports Go, and CA.TV.
Yeah, last Saturday was a rough one for Elon as it went on the road against a quality opponent for the second straight week. Not only did the Phoenix lose starting quarterback Davis Cheek in the first quarter, as we mentioned, but star running back Malcolm Summers didn't play at all due to a hamstring injury. Despite all of that, Elon took a 16-14 lead into the fourth quarter and had its chances to win. They should get a boost from returning to Rhodes Stadium for the first time since September 29th. Jalen Green takes over at quarterback and will have the benefit of a full week of preparation. He doesn't throw as well as Cheek, but is an excellent runner and managed to pass for 140 yards with no interceptions versus the Hens. Now, Elon's defense was on the field quite a bit at Delaware and was unable to get some key stops when they needed to in the fourth quarter, but I would expect to see them bounce back this week. Now, after a rough few weeks, Richmond not only got a much-needed conference win at UAlbany, but the fact that they went on the road and converted several big plays on a game-winning 11-play drive should provide plenty of momentum. Joe Mancuso was solid in his second start at quarterback with 286 yards passing and another 50 yards on the ground, and he's quickly found a favorite target in Cortrell Simpson, who has 17 receptions for 332 yards over the past 2 weeks. The Spiders' defense did a nice job slowing the UAlbany running game, and All-America defensive tackle Andrew Clyde was in the backfield all night with 3 sacks. Elon pulled out a 36-33 shootout at Robins Stadium a year ago when the two teams combined for nearly 1,100 yards of total offense. Not sure we'll get that again, but it should be a tight matchup.
3 games will kick off at 3:30. Albany will be at home again this Saturday as they host Towson. This could be a fun offensive showdown in this one, Rob.
Yeah, no team in the CAA is putting up better offensive numbers than Towson, as they've topped the 400-yard mark in every game this season. We've talked often this year about the multiple talents of quarterback Tom Flacco, who not only leads the CAA in passing, but is 5th in the league in rushing after topping the 100-yard plateau for the second time last week. We probably haven't talked enough about the impact of Shane Simpson, who ranks 2nd in all of FCS with 174 all-purpose yards per game and leads CAA football with 8 touchdowns. Another key in the Tigers' 3-0 CAA start has been a defense that continues to grow and improve each week. They've been especially good up front, where Bryce Carter recorded a pair of sacks last Saturday. Now, it's been a frustrating past couple of weeks for UAlbany, which has lost back-to-back conference games in the final minute. Quarterback Vince Testaverde ranked 2nd to Flacco among CAA passing leaders with 243 yards per game, and Juwan Green became the 3rd different Great Danes receiver to top the 100-yard mark this season when he made 7 catches for 130 yards versus Richmond. We all know that UAlbany running back Elijah Token Tanks can break loose at any point, so the Great Danes have plenty of threats offensively. The concern for UAlbany is the defense that has been banged up, especially in the secondary. That's an area that will need to be shored up if the Great Danes hope to slow down the Tigers on Saturday.
Also at 3:30, it is our CA football game of the week on collegesportslive.com and NBC Sports Boston as New Hampshire welcomes Delaware to Durham. The Blue Hens looking to carry that momentum from last week into this matchup, Rob.
Yeah, Delaware's posted back-to-back impressive wins since that late September setback at North Dakota State and returned to the top 25 this week. Pat Kehoe has thrown 5 touchdown passes in the past 2 games, with 3 of them going to tight end Charles Scarf. But the best news for the Blue Hens offense was the resurgence of the rushing attack as Kenai Kane picked up 124 yards and a touchdown on only 19 carries last week. Now, Delaware turned in one of its best performances defensively last Saturday, limiting Elon to 289 total yards. Troy Reeder was all over the field, making a team-high 15 tackles and a career-best 4.5 tackles for loss. Now, that defense will be tested again this Saturday against the New Hampshire offense that features 2 of the league's top playmakers in quarterback Trevor Knight and wide receiver Neil O'Connor. Knight has thrown for over 200 yards in both games since returning from his shoulder injury, and O'Connor has been the main target with 24 catches for 264 yards and 2 touchdowns in the past 2 weeks. Now, the Wildcats defense played pretty well against Stony Brook last Saturday as the Seawolves scored 2 of their touchdowns defensively, and another one was set up by a blocked punt. UNH forced 3 turnovers in that game and will look to do the same this week. These are 2 programs with a lot of pride and tradition and coaches who know each other really well, so expect a good battle.
Yep. Another team with some momentum going into this Saturday is Maine, as they are coming off back-to-back last-second victories and will be on the road at William & Mary on CA.TV and Cox Your View.
It's hard to imagine any program in the country with more momentum than Maine after winning back-to-back games on Kenny Doak field goals as time expired. Now, quarterback Chris Ferguson returned to action last week and showed how valuable he is, completing 30 of 48 passes for 278 yards and 2 touchdowns, and driving the Black Bears 54 yards in under 50 seconds to set up the game-winning field goal. Maine also got an outstanding effort from receiver Micah Wright, who made 10 catches for 125 yards and a score, and got a boost in the running game from true freshman Dewa Sanders with 57 yards on just 10 carries. Now, the Black Hole defense gave up some yards at Rhodey, but recorded 4 sacks and forced 3 turnovers. William & Mary went on the road and led Towson 13-10 at the half last week, but couldn't get on the board in that final 30 minutes. The Tribe lost their top offensive weapon, receiver Devontae Deadman, to an injury in the first quarter, and he's not expected to play on Saturday. Quarterback Sean Mitchell is also banged up, so Dean Rotker saw his first collegiate action in the second half and completed 12 of 18 passes. One good sign for William & Mary offensively was the play of running back Albert Funderburk, who rushed for 50 yards and a touchdown and also caught a 27-yard pass. The Tribe defense continues to be solid, especially up front, where Bill Murray made 5 tackles and blocked 2 kicks, including one that was returned 71 yards for a touchdown, and Will Keeley added 7 stops and 2 tackles for loss. With so many injuries to key offensive players, it will be vital for the William & Mary defense to have a big afternoon if the Tribe is going to get a victory in front of their homecoming crowd.
We wrap up with a 6 o'clock matchup with a top 25 contest as Stony Brook returns home to take on Rhode Island. Big implications in this one, Rob, as it relates to the CA standings.
Yeah, both of these teams are not only squarely in the hunt for a CA title, but also for a berth in the FCS playoffs. Yep. Stony Brook bounced back from its loss at Towson with an impressive 35-7 road win at New Hampshire. For the first time in several weeks, the Seawolves got off to a fast start as TJ Morrison had a 35-yard pick 6, and Shane Lawless returned to fumble 54 yards for a score to make it 21-0 early in the second quarter. That's an incredible 6 defensive touchdowns this season for Stony Brook. Now, with leading rusher Jordan Gowan sitting out with an injury, Donald Leontine drove the Long Island Express on his own, rushing for a season-high 163 yards on 32 carries. Quarterback Joe Carbone was also solid, throwing multiple TD passes for the 4th straight game. Now, Rhode Island turned in a tremendous performance against Maine last week, but suffered a 38-36 loss on that last-second field goal. Quarterback Joanne Lawson was out once again with a knee injury, but Vito Priori filled in well, throwing for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns, and leading a 75-yard scoring drive that put the Rams on top with just 51 seconds to go. Aaron Parker made 9 receptions for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns, which was his 4th 100-yard effort in 6 games. The Rams defense forced 2 more turnovers last week to increase their season total to 14. LB Mack and Nas Jones lead an aggressive unit that will need to play well to slow down that Stony Brook attack. Now, Stony Brook's won 9 of its last 10 at home, but Rhodey has already shown an ability to win tough games on the road.
CASports.com/live scores is your source for live scoring and in-game live stats throughout this Saturday. Also remember to check in with us later Saturday night with the complete wrap-up with our CA Football Rewind on CAFootball.com.
Yeah, you can continue to follow the league on our many social media platforms such as Facebook.com/CA Football and Twitter @CA Football using the hashtag CAFB.
The CA Football on-campus crew was at Rhode Island this past weekend. You can relive that crazy game and all the sights and sounds from the trip on all of our CA Football social media platforms, and tune in Thursday for Going Deep feature on the Rams.
Yeah, this week we got a chance to sit down with the Rams' Aaron Parker and Isaiah Coulter, wide receivers who are cousins and grew up together but didn't play football on the same team until they arrived at Rhode Island.
Both of them, of course, having big years, Rob. That is it from us today. Enjoy the games, everyone.